Hi guys, what's up? Well, let's take a look. You remember some time ago we put some seeds in our little pots to go in my greenhouse, and some of them have started to come through. So let's take a look so far. Well, first of all, do you remember that I started my sweet corn seeds in water, and I said they can be a bit fussy, and a friend of mine told me to start them in water so they start to shoot. And after a few days, they did. Can you see the little root there starting to look for water? And it thinks it's in the soil, so it sent the root out first, and then the shoot is starting to come here, and that's where the leaves will come up. So I thought, oh great, a couple of days in, they've started already. So once they got to about this size, I put them into little pots. And here they are, starting in their little pots. But I did put some straight in the compost, and actually they've done better. So next time I grow sweet corn, I won't worry about soaking the seeds. I'll just put them straight in the pots. These can't go out yet. We're still going to get some frost. I know it's a beautiful day now, but we are heading for a cold spell. So I'm going to keep these in the greenhouse. And don't forget, if you haven't put them in yet, we can sow seeds direct into the ground. So don't worry at all. We'll keep those by. There we go. I learnt something new. Brilliant. I also learnt from my friend how fussy tomatoes can be. And I said I hadn't grown them before. I'd give them a try. Well, look, they've all come up. That's really great. But again, it's too early for these to go out, so I'll keep them safe. And in a week or so, we'll think about how we can move these apart, because they're a bit too friendly at the moment. So the tomato seeds came up. So did my little sunflowers. My big sunflowers haven't yet, but my little ones have made a start. My courgettes have come up, and I think they could go out soon, so maybe next week I might pop that one in a minute. We'll see, take a chance. And my Jack in the Beanstalk beans have made a really good start. And again, I can't put them out yet, we're going to get a frost, so I'm going to keep those in my greenhouse or somewhere sheltered if they're getting too big for your windowsill. And again, it's one of those things that we will be planting straight in the soil. So that's that. My sweet peas have started to come up. Do you remember I put them in the toilet roll tubes? And you can see their roots starting to come through at the bottom there. But a friend of mine who's a really good sweet pea grower shared this top tip with me. It's a bit cruel, but it works. You're going to, hold on a minute. Sorry guys, there's not much room here for me. Let me move that one out of the way so you can see. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip the top leaf out so that there is one growing. You can, of course, just pinch it with your fingers. Just like that. It's up to you. If you want to practice your scissor skills, then you can just snip out the top leaf. And what this does is it makes one of these side shoots grow a new leading shoot. And that shoot will be stronger. Okay, so it looks cruel, but that's what he tells me to do. And because I'm learning as I go, I have to follow advice, don't I? So let's put those over there as well. And the sweet corn. And all of this. My potatoes have started to come through, both in the pots and in the soil. So remember, when I'm growing them out in my garden, I will just rake the soil on top. And obviously with these in the pot, I'm just going to tuck them up with a bit more compost. And that will protect those young leaves from the frost, and it will also mean that I get a bigger crop. Do you remember I set some peas in the greenhouse in pots? Well, look how well they've done. My goodness me. So lots of roots at the bottom there, and remember with these paper pots I just put them straight in the ground. Let me find my trusty trowel. And I've already done a lot of them, you can see that. In a minute we'll take a peek at the ones that I put straight in the ground. And actually there isn't too much difference. So all I'm going to do is dig a hole and drop it in. And then firm the soil back around so there's no air pocket. And I've got plenty of peas here. The mice at the moment don't seem to be too bothered, so that's great. I will water that in a minute. But I've got this big space in the middle here. If you haven't got much room in your garden, this is what you could do. Courgettes will grow about this big, which means all of this space will be covered with courgette and not with weeds. And by the time these have grown up and I've picked them, this will be ready to give me courgettes. So they kind of go together like friends. That's useful, isn't it? Tap the bottom, give it a little squeeze. This is plastic pot, you don't need to do this with the paper ones. And look, there it is. You can see the roots there. And I'm going to dig a hole. So easy. There we go. And tuck him in. Now again, courgettes, butternut squash, all of those things, pumpkins, we will be growing straight in the soil a little while later. So you haven't missed the chance, but that one is going just there. Okay. Now, super exciting. I think so anyway. You guys might not agree. When I was thinking about what I wanted to grow on the allotment this year, and this was long before we had to go into lockdown, I had ordered some blueberry bushes and I've got those planted. We'll have a look at those another time. But I also ordered some sweet potatoes. I've never grown sweet potatoes before and I thought I would give it a go. And look what arrived this week, better than Interflora. These are my little sweet potato slips, my little sweet potato plants. And you can see they arrived in the post in their own little greenhouse. I've given them a drink, you can see all the roots there. And I'm going to pop them on, which means I'm going to put them in a pot to give them a little bit more soil, because the sun can get to those roots and dry them out. And they do need a bit more goodness now. So all I'm doing is I filled the pot to the level of the compost I want. I pop it in and fill it up. And then I will keep these in my greenhouse or somewhere sheltered, cold frame if you've got it, polytunnel if you're really lucky. I'm not that lucky yet. When all the frosts have gone, I will plant these out. We'll do it together. But in the meantime, that's what I shall be doing with the rest of those when I get back home. Right, shall we take a look at the onions? Now I'm going to do something technical. I'm going to switch off for a moment. I'm going to try my very best, it's not easy, to move the camera so you can see. It's not easy being a one-man band, you know. So here are my onions, growing nicely. You can see there's one or two weeds in between. I'm not going to worry about those yet. I can hoe those off later. My pesky mole has left a great big hole and a pile of soil there and a pile of soil there, right in the middle of my onions. He's not taking any notice of my vole deterrent, and you can hear it going off in the background sometimes. But so far the onions are looking good. They've caught up with my neighbour's onions, so even though I was quite late in putting them in, they're doing okay. Here we go. Let's have a look at the peas that I put straight in the ground. And actually, they're not that far behind, are they? I've got one or two gaps, but that's all right. They've still got time to come through. And that means that these peas will be ready about 2 weeks after the other peas, which is great because it means I'm getting more meals for a longer time. So they're looking okay. Carrots are coming up nicely in their rows, and I've hoed in between to get rid of the big weeds, and there are still little weeds either side of my carrots. I'm not going to worry about those. The sun is so hot today that if I was to try and pull these weeds up, I would probably damage my carrots, and it isn't worth it. And in a couple of weeks' time, probably less than that, we're going to be thinning these out so that instead of lots of little carrots that have got too close and too friendly and have no room to grow, we're going to thin them out so that they've got room to grow and I get bigger and better carrots. So that's fine as well. Right, let's have a quick look around the allotment. Onions, rhubarb. Hope you're not getting too travel sick doing this. This is my asparagus, which doesn't really show much, but actually it's a really lovely crop to have. And one of my friends at Slimming World said, "Do you grow asparagus?" And I said, "Yes, I do." So there we go, proof. More onions. I've got my strawberries coming on nicely. These pots are going to be for my sweet potatoes, and I've got my fruit bushes making a start. Got my bean canes ready for my Jack in the Beanstalk beans. There are my blueberries. Did you hear the vole deterrent? Listen again. Will it do it? No, not on command. It's not going to work. And right up there on the pole, there's my owl. There it goes. Did you hear it that time? Good. More strawberries. Red currants with garlic around. That's looking good. My beetroot seeds have started to come up, and again we'll thin those together. And then my wildflower garden. So it's all looking pretty good. See you soon, guys. Bye.